So you created an inbound marketing program and it's not delivering results yet, but you need sales? What are you going to do? We got you covered. Hello, my name is Bill Arnold. I'm president of Prevail Marketing. You may find us at prevailmarketing.com. And every day we try to give you some ideas, concepts, suggestions, ways that you can grow your business through better sales and marketing. And we're actually going to be talking over the next few days about a number of different marketing strategies you can use. And one of the problems I hear often from companies is, look, we knew when we started inbound marketing it was going to take 3 or 4 months because we know we have to attract those people. We know we have to get them down through that consideration stage to nurture them through that process to where they're ready to talk to sales. But we need sales now. We can't wait. And we don't have enough money for a demand generation budget. We can't go out and do PPC. What do? We're hurting. Well, you can do what the number one inbound marketing platform did. Would you like to know how HubSpot solved that problem? Because you're not unique. HubSpot realized early on that, inbound marketing works and they did it better than most. I mean, they're the masters of it. They created great content, distribute that content to their tended buyer personas, where they go for information, where they go for third-party verification, where they go for entertainment. They were masters. No question about it. And a lot of their business came from that. But a lot of their business came from other sources. Well, yes, they did PPC, no question about that. They had partner programs where 65% of their revenue at one point came from their partners. But you don't have those maybe. Those are options you can tack onto. So what can you do? What they did. Inbound sales. Now, I'm not talking about having a sales department who sits around their phones waiting for it to ring, hoping that someone wants to give them an order and all they do are order takers. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about hunters. People who go out there and find people who are not ready yet to be sales qualified lead, nurture them, identify them, and bring them to that point where they buy from you. Many people looked at that and said, well, you're talking about cold calling outbound sales. No, I'm not. Nobody wants to do cold calling because, frankly, it doesn't work very well. I mean, it makes people angry. I mean, you buy a list and you spend hours calling people who don't want to talk to you, hoping that eventually you find one who's either so bored they're willing to at least have a conversation, or maybe in that blue moon, you find someone who actually wants to buy. Oh, I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm talking about an inbound marketing methodology to inbound sales, where you're using the same principles of education to bring people to that bottom line. Sound like something you're interested in? Let's talk about how you get that point, okay? Because there's a 5-step process, okay, that we found works. The first step, honestly, is research. And I think it's the most critical stage of any of the phases. It's research. It's understanding which companies you want to talk to. Because, you don't want to waste your time. And if you're not cold calling, you want to find people who have a buyer's intent, who are truly interested in or considering buying a product that you sell. Now, how do you go about doing that? What do you look for? How do you determine that? Well, there's a number of ways. First off, look at your nurturing program. You probably have already had people that have gone through that awareness stage are now looking at your blogs more frequently. Maybe they're looking at pricing pages. Maybe they're looking at some other pages, interior pages about what your product is about, your service is about. Those people are moving slowly down that pipeline. And they're not ready for sales to talk to you yet, but they're showing an increased buyer's intent. That's one way. Another way you can do it is there's a number of services out there that actually will identify people who may not be looking to buy from you, but are looking to buy a similar product or service from one of your competitors. Wouldn't you like to know if there's a company out there that already went through that discovery phase, already went through that consideration stage, already at the point now they're looking to pull the trigger on somebody, a product that you sell, a service that you sell? How powerful would that be to you? Now, it's going to cost a little money, I grant you. But wouldn't you like to identify these people who are ready to make a purchase of your competitors? I would. So what they do is they look at a lot of data. And they look at the content consumption that they've downloaded, the ebooks these companies have downloaded. Look at the attendance they're having at webinars or industries that they go to talking about solutions to problems. They look at their social media engagement, see how they're reacting. All this stuff you should be doing, right? They look at the queries they're making and the terms they're using. They look at the purchase intent, history of intent, when they last purchased. Is it coming up for renewal? They look at such things as, are they generating RFPs or budget changes? All these things are factored in and more. And they will be able to identify companies who are looking like they're ready to make a purchase, who have been contacting. Maybe they're going to G2 Crowd, or they're going to Capterra, and they're looking at comparisons between companies. Okay, that's a great way to figure out buyer's intent. Why do you start looking at comparison between two products? When you're thinking of buying them, you don't do it arbitrarily, do you? I don't. I only do them ready to buy. So look at signals like that. And they can provide you a list, and they can provide you often not only the list of companies, but the contacts. Good to know. What are these companies? What do they do? Well, there's a number of them. There's G2 Intent, there's Zoom Info, there's Demand Science, and the one I've always used, 6 Sense. Works very, very well, actually delivers results, powerful results. So take a look at any of those. They all have different pricing, but if you're willing to put a little investment, maybe you can jumpstart your sales pretty darn quickly. But that's only the first part, the research. That's item one. Item two, finding the right contact in there, okay? Now, it may not just be just finding the decision maker. You may have to find the influencers as well. You may have to educate the group of people, like you would account-based marketing. So what do? You identify through these sources, the same one, Zoom Info, all these different sources, who are the people working for the company. What are their titles? What are their positions? Where are they located? You identify who they are. Then you start doing your search on social media. Where they go for information, where they download. You're trying to figure out that connection that you might be able to have, how you're going to make that initial introduction, because that's the tricky part, okay? So you figure out who these people are and you try to find a hook. For example, I recently had a client who was in Kansas City. What's happening in Kansas City? Well, let's see. Kansas City Chiefs. Anything happening with them? I don't know. There might be something about a singer and a football player that you could use as a basis to get introduction. I don't know. You have to look that up yourself. But seriously, look for things. Super Bowl champions. Taylor Swift and Kelsey. These are things you can use to get introductions. Okay, ways you can grab some attention. Because the key about this is grabbing their attention at the very part. So basically, you have to do all this research, figure out how you're going to make that connection. And then what you do is you make the connection. This is arguably, again, the hardest part to do. It may not be sending an email. Probably not sending an email. In fact, I highly recommend not sending an email. Only time I've ever done that's worked when I said, by the way, I'm going to call you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Sometimes that's worked, but usually not. I usually pick up the phone early in the day. Before I'm talking to be, if the day starts at 8, I'll call at 7 a.m. I'll call at 6:30. When they're just getting to work, because typically if you're head of a department, you're going to be there earlier. You're going to be paying attention. You don't work 9 to 5. You work earlier hours. I will do things. I'll send them great content. I'll send them something that is very valuable to them. Maybe I've done an ebook. Maybe I've done a video. Maybe I've done something I know is going to spark their attention. I will send them that, okay? And then follow up with that. So basically, you have to make that connection here. And I'm going to talk tomorrow about the ways you do that, okay? And the ways that HubSpot taught us to do this, because HubSpot had a class on how to do inbound sales, which I took, and I will share those information with you, those techniques and strategies tomorrow, or this week. May not be tomorrow, won't be tomorrow. Once you do that, once you broke the connection barrier, you need to start a conversation, and the conversation has to look the same way that inbound marketing works. Educational, informational. It's not selling. It's providing an understanding to how they might solve the problem. In order to do that, you first have to listen. No one's willing to hear what you have to say until they believe you heard them first. Seriously. So listen to them. They will tell you. I've never found a case where someone has not told me how to sell them. They all do. If you listen to them, they will tell you what their pain points. They can tell you what their frustrations are. They'll tell you what their concerns are. Listen to it. And once you're done doing this, then you're in a position to offer them some advice. And, every single person will tell you how to sell them. I said that before. So what you need to do is maybe start the conversation once they get done with all this. As I said, if I can show you how all those issues, and list them off, could be solved, would you be interested in hearing about it? You get their permission to offer them a solution. This is how you get them to buy in. This is where it becomes less sales and more consultative. You always talk about the benefits. Never ever talk about the features. Nobody cares about the features of your product. I'm sorry, you may have the best features, you may have bells and whistles that sparkle and delight, but they care about the benefits, what it's going to do for them, how it's going to help their company, and how it's going to help them do their job better. Those are the things you talk about every single time. So I just went through a brief summary of inbound sales, how you have to have a customer-centric approach, how it's got to be personalized relationship, done in the same way that inbound marketing is done. Inbound sales is the same basis. tomorrow, or this week, I should say, I'm going to give you strategies, techniques, and best practices for actually doing it. I've set up a lot of programs and they've been very successful, but you have to set it up properly. You have to train your team properly, and they have to implement it properly. So, if this has been beneficial to you, please like, please subscribe, please follow. If you have any questions, please reach out. You can go to our website, there's a blog about it, but better yet, give us a call. Our phone number's on the website, our email's on the website, and we have a form on the website. No excuses, guys. So, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your time, and until tomorrow, have a great night.